Hi there everyone. I've been sick for the past week or so and unfortunately haven't been able to record a Dark Aspect script I've been sitting on, so I wanted to make a shorter, more straightforward news type video as a sort of warm-up, to get back into the DK king of swing of things. One of Nintendo's biggest announcements from their recent Direct is that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance titles have arrived via the Nintendo Switch Online service. This might be exciting news to Mother fans in particular, because this little handheld system actually houses the entire trilogy with a port of the first two games, alongside of course the third entry's debut. That fact alone has ignited a new spark of hope within us Western fans who have been clamoring for an official English release of Mother 3 for over 15 years now. Does the ability to play GBA games on Switch mean that Mother 3 is now finally allowed to leave Japan and travel abroad with its sisterhood for the first time? The short answer is no, I don't think so. However, the launch of an official emulator does mean that Nintendo now has a better avenue to localize the game, which raises the possibility of an English language release from 0.001% to 0.002%. I think first and foremost, it's important to reflect on why Nintendo would consider allocating the time and money to localize this whole game in the first place. Since the game's launch in Japan, there has been a very passionate and very vocal online community of fans rallying for this game to be released in English-speaking territories. And despite how overall niche the Mother series may be, the infamy of this third game being region-locked continues to be spread far and wide outside of our cult's inner circle to be acknowledged by celebrities, and even Nintendo themselves on several occasions. Similarly, while Mother 2 or Earthbound initially flopped financially in the US, it and the first game have historically topped charts of most wanted Nintendo ports, in large part due to Super Smash Bros., and went on to become best sellers on the Wii U and 3DS eShops when they finally arrived on those platforms. With each new console comes a new incentive to get these classics re-released too. As I stated earlier, we are a loud, growing minority, and I never failed to see comment sections of random Switch Online game trailers, for example, being flooded with questions, perhaps admittedly annoyingly so, about when Earthbound was coming. Nintendo is aware of how much this crazy fanbase has blown up with the passage of time. When the games eventually arrived on this service, they were made to be a big deal, as they were given a not insignificant time slot in the Direct, followed by a wonderfully detailed commercial uploaded to their YouTube channel that surprisingly upheld the spirit of Earthbound. I'm sure the company knows they'd rock the video game journalism world and cause quite the shakeup online by releasing Mother 3 in English, all while appeasing a lot of their most dedicated fans. Nintendo would ultimately benefit from word of mouth by translating this elusive game. Whether they choose to milk Mother fans for their money by making it available separately for purchase like the short-lived, never-before-English translated NES Fire Emblem, or simply put it on NSO to boost the reputation and value of their subscription service. Recently, ex-Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé spilled some long-awaited secrets in a bonus segment from the audiobook version of his memoir Disrupting the Game. He confirmed what some fans have speculated for a long time, in that the major reason the game hasn't been localized is simply because it'd cost too much money and take up too much of both the programmers' and translators' time. I am aware that Clyde Mandelin of the Mother 3 fan translation has openly offered his work and additional services if necessary to Nintendo free of charge should they bite. However, I think Nintendo is too proud and traditional a company to officially recognize the efforts of someone who's hacked their game and distributed said hack online. If the game's getting a translation, I can almost guarantee it will be created internally from the ground up by Nintendo Treehouse. I've also heard some people bring up the fact that an English language version of Kuru Kuru Kururin, I lovingly call the spinning stick game, is now available on the service, which is awesome, although sadly this is not a new translation made for NSO. It was initially localized into English for European markets, but not North America, much like freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, and was then made available later in my country on the Wii U eShop. I didn't want to make this video to crush anyone's dreams of Mother 3 getting translated. I just wanted to temper expectations and remind everyone that Nintendo's going to do whatever Nintendo feels is in its best interest as a corporation, whether they're convinced that the potential profit will outweigh the localization costs, or as leverage to get more people to sign up for the premium tier of their online service. I am super excited that GBA is here to stay, I just know better than to hold my breath for Mother 3. I think that whatever happens, Japan will get Mother 3 first. And even then, I can think of many other candidates arguably more likely to come to the service after the 6 other games already revealed, like Metroid Zero Mission, Golden Sun: The Lost Age, Pokemon and its various spin-offs, the other Super Mario Advance titles, Wario Land 4, and so on. With this in mind, if it comes out at all, Mother 3 will probably be announced towards the end of the Switch's life, which I know will make fans restless. Another sad possibility is Nintendo simply making the untranslated Japanese version of Mother 3 available for all regions, just like they did with Puyo Puyo, which is truthfully something Reggie and Satoru Iwata actually discussed doing for the game on the Wii U's digital store. Wouldn't that be hilariously cruel? I can see the headlines now. Mother 3 finally comes to the West. Kind of. That's all I had for today. If you like this video format, please let me know in the comments. And if you disagreed with any of my points, I'd love to know why. I have plenty more Mother-related videos you can find on this channel, and recently I collaborated with Monkey Ness and Maple for a Mother 3 Fun Facts episode on her channel. I'll leave a link to that video in the description if you're interested. Bye everyone!